Yo, book nerds. This video will be going up a week after I had started school, and so I just wanted to kind of give you an update on how school is going. I so far have actually had 2 classes. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and so on Thursday I will have one more class that I've already had. I am taking a 3rd class, but that one doesn't start until October. So right now I just have 2. One is on Monday nights, and then the second one is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So yeah, so far I have had 2 class periods, and I am still trying to get into a routine, and I've actually been pretty worn out just by these couple classes, but I'm feeling very good. And I feel like I'm going to like these 2 classes, and hopefully when the one starts in October, I will like that one too. So naively, I had said in a previous video that it didn't seem like I would have much reading homework. And I kept saying, it seems like. And I'm glad I said that because, yeah, it now seems like I am going to have a lot of reading homework. So my TBR video that I did for like the rest of the year is definitely going to be way different. I still would love to get to some of those books, but I just don't see myself having the time definitely for all of them because these 2 classes are going to have a lot of reading. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about both classes. The one class that I have on Monday nights is about teaching writing. It's going to be very interesting for me because I have a bachelor's degree in creative and professional writing, but that degree is very focused on teaching me how to write. And this class is about teaching me to teach writing. And so it's like a completely different mindset. So I will have writing assignments, but the writing assignments aren't graded on how well my writing is, but on my reflections on how to teach this to students. And so it's very, very different from what I'm used to. And I think it's going to challenge me in a great way because obviously I want to teach writing and teach English and literature. That's the whole point of me doing this. So I think it's going to be very, very good for me. And so we actually have a lot of reading for this class, which I didn't expect since it's a writing class, but I'm not required, thankfully, to buy all the textbooks. They're just giving us like copies of the sections we're supposed to read. So that's very nice. Saves me a lot of money because textbooks are expensive. And I have like 100 pages just for this one class to read by next Monday. So it's a lot. For me especially, that's a slower reader. And then I have reading for my other class too. But I have started on that and I'm really enjoying what I'm reading. The authors talk a lot about freedom in the classroom and getting students engaged and letting them choose what they read and write to an extent because there are requirements and there are certain things that you have to have them read and write. But it's all about, so far, it's all been about giving them more freedom. And I really love that philosophy because not everyone likes the same things and not everyone's interested by the same topics. And so I think that's the only way to get a diverse group of people interested in writing is by letting them have more control over it. And it goes for reading too. Like I've said in previous videos, read what you like to read. Don't let anyone pressure you to read things you don't like to read. When you're a student in high school, you often don't get to choose what you read. And so I really love that philosophy of allowing students to pick what they read and pick what they write. As long as you're still teaching them the concepts, the end goal is the same. Like you're teaching them the concepts, but they have more freedom. And I really, really like that. I'm probably repeating myself here, but like I'm really into that. And I really want to implement that in the future, in my future classrooms, because I think that's the only way you're going to get people excited about it and get them to want to engage. And so I'm really, really excited to see where this class goes. and what I can learn from it all. My other class that I have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, this is a linguistics class. It's an intro to English linguistics. And I have never taken a linguistics class before ever. And this has been super, super interesting to me already. I've only had one class. It's been already super fascinating to me. That's the class that I need this textbook for. And I've already read chapter 1 and I couldn't put it down because it was just so fascinating. Learning the history of language and comparing language to a tide, because it ebbs and flows and it changes all the time, and that's not a bad thing. And people think it is. And it's just so fascinating. Talking about why do we call a table a table? We could literally call it anything, but we call it a table, and everyone knows what we're talking about when we say the word table. Yet we all have a different mental image in our head of a table when we say table. I personally love history, but I've never really thought about the history of language. And so it's been already super interesting to know that English comes from a Germanic language originally, but it is so different now and mutated from the other Germanic languages. And it's just fascinating to me. It's just how you can trace your genealogy through ancestors and stuff. We can also trace language through the past, and that's just crazy. Just thinking about how language literally permeates everything around you all day long. Music is language, texting, reading, literally anything, talking, thinking, language literally permeates everything that we do all day long, and we don't ever really even think about it. I'm super interested in it. I'm kind of geeking out here. And it's it's so obvious, but because it's so obvious, I never actually really thought about it before. And it's very, very interesting. And another fun thing with reading this textbook, already in the first chapter, they've referenced authors that I have on my shelf, which I honestly wasn't expecting. I do read a lot of classics, but they referenced some classics that I've never ever heard of being referenced before in a class being taught. I'm used to people referring to Harper Lee and To Kill a Mockingbird, or Mark Twain and Huckleberry Finn. Those are common books and authors that are taught in schools. But actually the two authors that this book mentioned in the first chapter was Jacob Grimm, which is one of the Grimm brothers that helped write the Grimm fairy tales that I adore. That is so creepy that I love them. And look at this edition that I have. It's so, so pretty. Got the golden edges. Oh, I love this edition. Anyway, getting distracted. But yeah, and they referenced the Grimm brothers. So interesting. And they also referenced Lewis Carroll and the Jabberwocky poem, which I adore. I love the Jabberwocky poem, and I love Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So it's just, when I had those references come up in this textbook that I would have never expected to come up, I just completely geeked out because I love this book. This is one of my all-time favorite books. And so the fact that I'm being taught the Jabberwocky poem in a linguistics class, you think the Jabberwocky poem is a nonsense poem, and it pretty much is, but it's also not, because in my textbook they explain because we speak English, we try to make sense of words that appear to be English, which the Jabberwocky poem appears to be in English, even though a lot of it's made up words. And so our brain just assigns meaning to these words and tries to make sense of what we're reading. And it's just fascinating to me. And I'm probably explaining this super bad, but I'm just geeking out right now because it's been a lot of fun, and it's only been the first couple days of class. And so, yeah, I have a lot of reading homework, and so I'm definitely not going to be getting to all those books that I had thought about trying to read the rest of the year, but we'll see what I get to. I am still reading The Mysterious Stranger and Other Stories by Mark Twain. I have only finished 2 of the 4 short stories in here. I just have not had any time to devote to any personal reading because of school. So I'm hoping to get some time to read some more of this soon, but we'll see, because I'm really, really interested in these classes right now. So yeah, it is what it is right now. And I hope that's okay with you guys, because I don't know when I'll have a review ready for this, because I don't know when I'm going to get back to it. Which is another great reason why I chose a book of short stories instead of a different novel, because if I were reading a different novel, who knows when I would get back to it, and I might have forgotten a lot of important details and whatnot. So I'm really happy with my decision to read this, because I can take it in little chunks as my time allows. Once I finish this, I really don't know what I'm going to pick next. I guess it'll just kind of depend how the semester's going, and I'll see what I decide and feel like at that time. If I still feel like choosing one of those books off of that TBR that I did a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that's kind of where things are right now, and I hope you stick around for this crazy ride. On a side note, I found my mug that I was telling you guys about that my friend made me. I talked about this mug in a previous video, which I'll link, so check that out. But yeah, isn't it pretty? And I use this as a bookend, and so I'm glad I found it. I still haven't found all the other stuff I used to keep on my shelves, but I still have a lot of stuff to go through. So yeah, such is life. What are you guys reading? Are you guys going back to school? Have your classes started yet? What are you learning? What are you reading? What are you writing? I'm interested in all of it. Please let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next Monday. As always, thanks for talking books with me.